Namaste. Welcome to Sakshi Manasakshi. I am Priya Goteti and you are watching Spiritual Awakening. So last episode, we got to know about the different teachings of Acharyas. And now we are going to know about more in detail about the spiritual masters and Acharya. And again, we have our guest, Sanjay Kumar ji and Prabhu ji. Can you please let us know who is your spiritual master or Acharya? And do you have anyone whom did you follow?
So I'll start with the prayers, Priyaji.
Yeah, as usual, please start. As usual, Prabhuji, please start with your prayer.
Thank you so much. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Putale Shimade Jayapatak Samati Namane Namo Acharya Padaya Nitya Kripa Padayane Gauragata Damadaya Nagar Gamutarine Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Putale Shimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvasesa Sunyavadi Paschatadi Sitarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Mukham karoti vachalam, pangun langaye degirim, yat kripata hunde, Shri Guruti Tarinam, Paramananda Madhavam, Shri Chaitaneshwaram, Hare Om Tassat. Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you so much, Priya Garu, for giving me this opportunity to speak on the transcendental subject matters.
Hare Krishna. It's our pleasure, Prabhuji. And last episode, we discussed about different Vedanta philosophies and the Advaita Tattva explained by Shankaracharya, Visishta Advaita by Ramanujan and Shuddha Advaita. So we learned about different philosophies and we learned to know what is the importance of Acharya. So I would like to know, do you have any spiritual master Acharya that you followed, Prabhuji?
Yes, thank you so much for asking that. You see one right behind me who's always blessing me. This is my spiritual master. His name is His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Guru Maharaj. We call him Guru Maharaj because he's my spiritual master. He's the one who has saved me. This is my picture with him. I keep it right next to me so that I always remember. And he always says that I'm born in ISKCON. ISKCON stands for International Society for Krishna Consciousness. That means anybody who's Krishna consciousness, they are actually ISKCON. Because that's the name of ISKCON. Sounds like an American name, but actually it's not. It's anybody who's Krishna consciousness, they're ISKCON. International Society for Krishna Consciousness. So he says, I'm born in Viscon, which is Viscon is spelled like ISKCON. If you look at the spelling of Viscon, it matches the ISKCON. So he said, I'm born in ISKCON. So he born to a very aristocratic family. His grandfather, if I remember correctly the numbers, sold his company for almost $60+ million almost 50 years ago. So he's coming from that kind of family, very handsome, tall gentleman. He was in Navy. And at age 19, somehow he met Srila Prabhupada, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Here is Srila Prabhupada. He met his spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, who's the ISKCON founder Acharya. And then he got so inspired with Srila Prabhupada, he decided to dedicate his entire life to Srila Prabhupada. He never got married. He's a brahmachari. He's a sannyasi now. He's the only sannyasi on the planet who I know who has completed 50 years of sannyasa. See, usually people take sannyasa at a later age. So 50 years of sannyasa means you have to be 100-year-old, or But he took sannyasa at such a young age of 20, maybe 20, in 20s, that he just completed his close to 70 years. He has completed his 50th year, of sannyasa. His spiritual master is A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. So Srila Prabhupada, the whole episode we can talk about Srila Prabhupada. We can talk about his books, his philosophies, about ISKCON, what exactly he started, how he started, where he started from. Srila Prabhupada is actually Indian, who started this ISKCON movement. At the age of 70 plus, he came to America, and with nothing in his pocket. Actually, he came with no money or wealth with him. He just bought Bhagavatam and some Bhagavad Gita and some spiritual books from India on the order of his spiritual master, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, who told him, during his first meeting itself, he told him, Prabhupada actually, education was from a British time, so his English was very good. So when he met his spiritual master, he told him, young boys like you should go to the West and preach to them. When the Westerners, whole world is following Western culture. So then when Westerners become Krishna consciousness, the whole world will become Krishna consciousness. And that instruction Srila Prabhupada took to his heart. And he decided to come to America in a cargo ship. He had 2 massive heart attacks also on the cargo ship, but somehow he survived by Krishna's blessings. He made it to New York. Then he started, preaching. He used to go to colleges. He used to go to different houses. He used to cook for them. He used to offer, and he started preaching. A very humble beginning. He had to go through a lot in the beginning in America to preach Krishna consciousness. Finally, he was in Pennsylvania for some time. Then he came to New York, and in New York he was in Bowery, not a very good neighborhood. He was sharing place with some other people who were smoking and all. And imagine, he's an Indian monk, and there are young kids smoking. And the time when he was here, there was a hippie culture. So there was no one particular religion people were following. They actually rejected all the religion, and they were actually in quest for something higher. And there was a hippie culture, long hairs, drugs, and all this stuff. During that time, Prabhupada came to America, and he started going to a park in New York. He sat there. He started doing kirtan, chanting of the holy name. He surrendered to Krishna. Actually, I'll just go back a little bit. On the boat, he wrote to Krishna a letter. And in the letter, in the end, he said, I don't know why you are bringing me here, Krishna, to this concrete world. This is all high-end, all these people are and materialistic and all. What will I do here? How will I preach to them? If you so desire, he surrendered to Krishna, that you make my preaching favorable to them, and you make me dance, make me dance, make me dance. Your tune. That's what he actually wrote to Lord Krishna. And then he started his journey in America. And today we can see the ISKCON is a worldwide movement. The ISKCON centers are almost all over the world. There are more than 150 centers around the world, or more actually. So what I've realized, he has surrendered to Krishna completely, Lord Srila Prabhupada, and he has done everything for the pleasure of Krishna, and the success automatically came. So in the New York Bowery, when he started, and when he started chanting in the park, initially people used to just come sit around, because a lot of Americans, they like music, they like singing music and all. And this old gentleman, very pure soul with a lot of aroma around him, some kind of aura around him. He was able to attract a lot of people, and holy name itself is so powerful. It was attracting people. So people started chanting, circling around him and all. Slowly they started connecting to him. And then he started from a humble place in New York. And then the small center started, Matchless Gifts Center. From that, the whole movement started. So ISKCON was actually established in New York by an old divine gentleman, Srila Prabhupada, Bengali, background. He's coming from a Bengali background. A lot of people think that ISKCON is a foreign entity, but no, it's not. Started by a nice devotee. And slowly people started connecting. People started coming. He used to cook for everybody, give them prasadam, give them Bhagavad Gita knowledge, teach them how to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So gradually this movement started building. And then he went to different places in America, gave them discourses, people have arranged big programs for him. And slowly Prabhupada started Rath Yatra. Jagannath Rath Yatra. He's one of the pioneers in bringing Jagannath Rath Yatra to worldwide places. All around the world today, Jagannath Rath Yatra is happening. Credit goes to Srila Prabhupada. So in New York, Manhattan also, they do Jagannath Rath Yatra every year. And it's huge. Thousands of people attend that. Main Street, Times Square, right there. They do this. So Prabhupada, he started from that humble, and imagine, he had mostly white Americans who has no background of Indian philosophy and Vedic philosophy. They don't have, I should not say Indian, Vedic philosophy. So Prabhupada started, he depended on Krishna, he gave them prasadam. What we eat, we are. So everything Prabhupada cooked, offered to Krishna, gave them as a prasadam. That prasadam also transformed their hearts. And Prabhupada's love transformed their hearts. He genuinely loved these people. Imagine, they used to say, actually, New York Times and all covered this on the front page, that one monk came from India and he's transforming people. And usually in those days, when the spiritual masters come from south, so like from East India side, they usually stay in an aristocratic family, very rich family. Some rich guys come, they hang out, they meet, they hear discourse, they give some donation, and they go back. This is the culture, But this is one Swamiji who is in a body, in a more disregarded place. He is dealing with all these drug addicts, all this youth who was completely rejected from the city. Even the city gave up on them. And he just gave them holy name and he transformed their life. So even the government started acknowledging that, because he's dealing with the most difficult topic, what even they are not able to deal with. So imagine he's coming to America and fixing the biggest mess in America. So of course they'll appreciate it. And he's not just staying in a rich family house and taking care of only rich people. No, he does. For him, there is no difference between rich and poor, or middle class, or drug addict. For him, everybody is same, because he is a spiritual man. He is Krishna's dear son. And Krishna's dear son, the way he deals with Krishna's other children is with love. Non-discrimination, right? He will not discriminate. So this is how Prabhupada won hearts. Not one or two, and not Indian, Japanese, Chinese, Russians, Americans, Europeans. He has won heart of the world. During his birth time, there was a forecast about his life, and astrological forecast. And they said, this man has capability to build a house where whole world can live in. And he has done that. Today, if you look at ISKCON, anywhere in the world, including Dallas and Chicago, there's a beautiful temple in Chicago also. You will see all variety of people, not just Indian. I'm talking about blacks, whites, Chinese, Japanese, Russians, Jews, Mexicans, you name it. They're part of this movement in temple. They come together, they serve together, they sing the holy name, they chant the holy name, they follow a particular rules, regulations in their life. They follow Srila Prabhupada. That to me itself is a miracle.
Prabhuji, so where was this first ISKCON temple built, Prabhuji?
So the first temple was New York only, a small place. Then there was a bunch of temples in New York. I think one temple was built in West Virginia, the Palace of Gold. You might have heard about it. It's one of the very famous temple. Then there is one in California, Los Angeles. It's called Rukmini Dwarkadish. Then there's one in Dallas, which is one of the oldest temple in Dallas, actually. Radha Kalachandji is almost going to be 50 years pretty soon. We crossed 40 plus years. Prabhupada installed these deities. This was one of the first temples in America, actually, in Dallas, in Texas area. I know in America, temple-wise, first was maybe New York and then Pittsburgh, something like that. But Dallas temple was also one of the first temples where Indians used to go. So like that, now in America, there are so many temples. I don't even have the count. Almost every city has a temple. And not only America, all over the world, there are temples. So the humble beginning was from here. And what he told his disciples, You depend on Krishna. Whatever I'm telling you from scriptures as it is. Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita is the only book which says as it is. I don't know if you can read. This says as it is, right? As it is. That means whatever Krishna told, Prabhupada repeated that as it is. And he recommended his disciples same thing. Whatever I told you, just repeat that to others. They'll benefit from it. Krishna will take care of everything. You don't worry about money. You don't worry about any success, failure and all. You just surrender to Krishna. Repeat what I told you. Repeat what is written in Bhagavad Gita. Everything will manifest on its own. And today ISKCON is, one role model for the world. In fact, Harvard, big corporations have done studies on Prabhupada. How an old gentleman from India comes with nothing and he has a international empire. And after he passed away, after he left the body, after he finished his, services in the world, this movement is growing. It has not come down. It is still growing. They have done a lot of research on Islam, Christianity, and ISKCON. They have seen that first 50 years of growth, if you compare Christianity, Hinduism, or Islam or anything, ISKCON has crossed everything. And the reason it is, Prabhupada never told anybody to convert. No conversion, not necessary. Prabhupada says anybody who teaches you who is God, how to love God, you follow that. There are so many people in ISKCON who are Christian pastors, like Christian priests, they're still practicing that. They have not changed the caste. They're still Christians. And they're saying we're better Christians than Christians because whatever Jesus Christ told in the book, in the Bible, about loving the neighbor, or loving the God, loving everybody, thou shalt not kill, they are following more those norms than even an Orthodox Christian. That's what Srila Prabhupada has given the world a gift. He even told Muslims, you can come and do namaz at the temple. There's nothing wrong. You can do 5 times namaz. In Mayapur, where the temple is getting built, Temple of Vedic Planetarium, the namaz, they break fast. We have arranged them to break fast in the temple with khajur and some prasadam. So why I like ISKCON the most, why I like ISKCON, why I love ISKCON, why I love Prabhupada, I'll tell you the secret. I'm coming from a Hindu background. I've been to all Hindu temples in America. I love temples. I love devotees. I love anybody who is spiritual. But there's something special about ISKCON. There is something special about Srila Prabhupada. And that is, the knowledge is pure, the service is pure, the mood is pure. The idea is to save others, to connect others to Lord Krishna. So if you go to any temple, ISKCON temple, and one of the other thing about ISKCON centers are, they are 100% focus on Lord Krishna. Of course, Jagannath is also Lord Krishna, Narasimhadev is also Lord Krishna, Rama is also Lord Krishna, Lord Vishnu is also Lord Krishna. These are all Vishnu tattvas are actually Krishna only. So if your focus is there on Supreme Personality of Godhead, then our liberation is guaranteed. Going back is easy. There is a story shared by Prabhupada all the time, this example. He says, Krishna, let's say the whole creation is a big banyan tree. Big banyan tree, right? A lot of leaves, big trunk, big trees and all. So he explained to us, Prabhupada, Krishna is the root of the tree. So if you pour water to the root, the entire tree gets nourished. If you pour water to a leaf or a branch, still actually you're pouring water to the tree only. But you're doing so in a wrong way. This is also given in Bhagavad Gita. Prabhupada is just repeating from Bhagavad Gita. Krishna himself told. So when you worship Krishna in different forms, any other gods, any other forms, you can worship him like sun, you can worship him like plant, you can worship him like stone, you can worship him so many other Devi Devtas, gods we have. So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, you're still actually worshipping me because you pour water to a tree, leaf or a branch. Actually, you're pouring water to a tree only, right?
Yes.
If there's a big tree, you're pouring water to one leaf or one branch. Actually, you're pouring water to a tree also. But you're doing so in a wrong way, is what Krishna explained very nicely. The right process is to pour water to the root. Similarly, you worship anybody, you're worshipping actually Krishna only, directly, indirectly. But you're doing so in a wrong way, because the right way of worshipping is directly worshipping Krishna. Krishna Arpana Vastu. Uttering Krishna's name, remembering Krishna's name. Right?
I think
So
even if the yagnas also at the end there's a Krishna Arpanamastu, even if they do.
Yes. In the
Krishna
yagna phal, if you want to get a yagna phal, after any yagna, at the end, if they don't say Sarva Krishna Arpana Vastu, the yagna is not completed.
Sarvam Shri
And
Krishna.
it's not hard to love Krishna. It's not hard to accept, connect with Krishna. It is very easy. If I tell you to connect with the snake, if I connect you to connect with some other, like Ravanasadu and all, maybe it is difficult. We are telling to connect with Krishna. Almost every child, including you, I'm sure your mom would have dressed you up like a Krishna at one time at least. You might have had a picture. Every parent, a lot of even Muslims and other people do that, because just by putting a peacock feather and tying some band on the head and giving you some Krishna conscious clothes, the boy or girl looks so cute. In paintings you will see Krishna, in songs you will sing Krishna. You are a dancer, in dance you see Krishna. Art, in houses a lot of people put sceneries, pastimes, stories from childhood Krishna Leela to Mahabharat. There are so many wonderful pastimes of Krishna. Bhagavatam is entire Bhagavatam is about Krishna. Bhagavad Gita, knowledge, Krishna. So if you really look at it, you, no matter what background you're coming from, you can connect with Krishna. Beauty, the flute, peacock is linked with Krishna. Cows are linked with Krishna. Right?
Yes.
So it's not hard to connect with Krishna, actually speaking. It's not at all hard. The only way you can get liberation is through Krishna. That is the verdict of the scriptures. Krishna also tells in Bhagavad Gita the same thing. At the time of death, if you remember me, you come back to me. But if you remember your ancestors, you go to your ancestors. If you remember any other gods, you go to their planet. There's nothing wrong. You can go, but then they have to come back. Because all those planets are in material world only. There is something beyond material world, which is Goloka Dham. Krishna resides there, is untouched by the material creation. So if you want to go there, the only way to go there is through Krishna. You have to remember Krishna. You have to, at the time of death, you have to remember Krishna. Then you can go there. This knowledge is given to us by Krishna. This knowledge is given to us by Arjuna. This knowledge is given to us by Acharyas. Srila Prabhupada, my Guru Maharaj. Everybody is telling us, this is a simple secret. As long as you connect with Krishna and you dovetail your life with Krishna, you will go back to Krishna. In fact, my life, what I did, I'm a businessman. I have jewelry business, I have real estate business, I have different businesses. So I was thinking, I can make a lot of money. There is no fixed number for anybody on the planet that if you make this much money, this is good enough. Depending upon your lifestyle, the number can change. Right? Depending upon where you're living, your number can change. Depending upon your expenses per month, the number can change. One way you cannot retire forever. So what I've decided is, I'm working hard. I'm making money. I have a jewelry business. I have a real estate business. What if tomorrow morning I don't even get up? I went to bed and heart attack, something, I die. All my hard work, what I've done, does it have any value? Can I take this money with me? Even if I give this money to my children, my wife and all, God only knows whether they're going to utilize this good or bad, whether they'll be, by giving them, I'm really benefiting them or I'm actually spoiling them, I don't know. A lot of times it happens when dad leaves money for children gets into bad habits and all, and they spoil their life. So the dad should take a credit for doing good or take credit for doing bad. So my point here is, death is certain. You are going to die, I'm going to die, everybody who's watching this are going to die. That is 100%. Prabhupada also actually says a joke one time. some people told him in a university. One boy asked him, Prabhupada, how come India? There's so much death in India and less death in America. Western country, advanced country, and all. Why is this happening? So Prabhupada said the death rate is 100% everywhere. Can you understand it?
Yeah, got it.
Everywhere the death rate is 100%. Whether it's India, China, America, everybody dies. So there's no percentage change. Death rate is 100%. So we all are going to die. And any day we can die. While giving interview, I can die. While taking interview, you can die. While watching interview, some people can die. Correct? So death is certain. But after death, your rebirth is also certain. And based on how you die now, your next death is decided. Your next birth is decided. So imagine, Krishna says, if the time of death, this is what Prabhupada taught us, at the time of death, if you remember Krishna, we'll go back to Krishna. So what we have to do, we have to engage our life in such a way that 24 hours, whatever we're doing for Krishna. Like I'm doing business, I'm doing for Krishna. I'm talking to you, I'm talking for Krishna. I'm a hairstylist, I'm hairstyling somebody, but I'm keeping Krishna in the mind. I'm an IT guy, I'm doing work on computers, writing programs and all. I'm thinking that I'm able to do this because of Krishna, because he has given everything. He has given this computer also has come from nature. So this is also his product. You can look at a screen and appreciate Krishna. You can drink water and appreciate Krishna. Yes, water is tasty because of Krishna. We have water because of Krishna. I am able to see you because this vision is given to me by Krishna. So there are so many reasons for me to remember Krishna all day. So if I dovetail my life, whatever I do, I'm doing it for Krishna. I'm doing charity, I'm doing it for Krishna. I'm cooking it for Krishna. I'm offering it to Krishna. I'm taking care of my children. I'm taking care of those children because they are Krishna's children. Krishna has given me blessings to have them. But actually, their life, their whole soul, their consciousness is because of gift of Krishna. I don't have capacity to produce a child. I'm just doing what Krishna has given me. From there it is coming. This machine is built by Krishna. From this machine, another boy is coming. But I have not built this machine. So that means the byproduct is also Krishna's gift. So it's very easy to understand and connect Krishna in everything what I do. So what I did, I made Krishna my partner. Krishna is my partner in my business. Whatever I do, my jewelry business, my real estate business, any business I do, Krishna is my partner. So because he's my partner, I'm on 24 hours duty of Krishna. So there's no way I can forget Krishna. No way. Because he's my boss. How can you forget your boss? If you're on duty, you'll remember your boss, right? All the time. So he's my boss, he's my father, he's my friend. So you have to invent your own ways how you can remember Krishna all day. You can chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. You can chant as many times as you possible. You can chant while driving, you can chant while cooking, you can chant while sitting, you can chant while watching something, you can chant while attending a meeting also, at the back of your mind. Nobody will bother you. This is the best mantra meditation you can do in this age.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for explaining us the importance of acharyas and letting us know about the great gurus and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's philosophy and Srila Prabhupada's. And thank you so much for enlightening us with all the different philosophies, Vedantas, and helping us to guide through proper spiritual and enlightenment and enlightening us, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Pregaru. Really appreciate your time, and thanks to Sakshi TV for helping the world to understand the transcendental subjects. My prayers for all of you and your families. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Please keep me in your prayers. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prabhuji. This is Priya Goteti signing off, and you are watching Sakshi Manasakshi.